Hey guys, it's Matt. About a minute and a half or so before I start reading. Yes, this is chapter 33. Please, no spitballer comments. We did that 10 years ago. Nobody owns any number or has the right to anything in the natural world over anyone else or any other group. The number system is actually one of the categories of what I'm about to talk about. Gives away the reality itself. It's part of what you would call the natural world. The chapter coming up is the comprehensive list of how reality gives itself away. And I just want to point this out before we start, guys. You've heard me how many times over the years say reality gives itself away. And we get used to it. We get habituated to it. There's almost 20 categories. Let's just stop and realize how monumentally important, say, this chapter is, or all that we've noticed over the last 10 years. Let's just say you agree with me about 5 things. These 5 things give reality away, and the other 15 or whatever, 12 to 15, you don't agree with me on. Just if there are a few things that give reality away as some sort of fake construct, let's just stop. Do you realize how meaningful that is, how great news that is to all of us? Because as the world gets faker, not said correctly, but we get more real. We're just used to this, like, oh, Matt's going to talk about how reality gives itself away. Again, I'm going to make a sandwich. If you agree with even one thing, one category here breaks down reality, it's monumentally important. All of these things move our understanding of reality away from the Carl Sagan and Stephen Hawking model, which is just about hopelessness and helplessness and nihilism and atheism. And if we can move away from that, and we already have, this is just putting everything together in a final chapter. And the chapter is so long, guys, it'll be 2 parts. It has to be 2 parts. I'm not sure how long. I'll try to go over an hour. There's one part here that could be a problem with the loading. I'd rather have this full hour load and then get to that at another time in case there is a problem with the topic, if you know what I mean. But either way, in terms of our analysis of reality, we're getting close to the end. We know all that we need to know. There's a lot more chapters, but do we really need to know any more? No. We should be doing part 2, the work right now, every day. I hope nobody was waiting for the chapter that says, begin the work now. We're done with there is no definitive line where we're stopping with analyzing reality, because it's fascinating to me. All these things being presented, each category as to how reality gives itself away is fascinating. The work should be being done now by all of us. We have a good idea what to do at this point, and we'll refine new ideas over time. All of us will together. So with that said, chapter 33. Here's a list of the main ways this reality gives itself away as being not very real. A reality that is not real shows us how real we are, or how bigger than this place we are. If you're still with me here at this point, we generally agree on our understanding of what this place is and what its presentation is all about. Now, the people around us in our lives do the opposite. They believe in every bit of it. They believe in every presentation from authority. Once again, the rule of opposites is proven true, as it always is. They degrade themselves, the people around us, by believing in this world. They've chewed off one arm of their own Vitruvian man, watching the news and Anderson Cooper, that little rat, believing what he's saying is real. Let's say you took a first date to a Punch and Judy show. For those that don't know, these are like the ancient little puppets, like the Lady Elaine plastic faces. Horrible little puppets. I guess back in 17, whatever, during the Black Plague, nobody had nothing to do. There ain't no Disney Plus streaming services. These little 2-cent puppets, and they'd fight each other, whatever. It's the lowest of low in terms of puppet. Not nearly as sophisticated as the lowly goat, Leo, 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 presented in The Sound of Music. Say, you took a first date to a Punch and Judy show. Now, would she be impressed if you believed all of it was real? That's basically what's going on in society around us. We are truly castaways in dingy lifeboats off the ship of fools. Once we get off the ship, though, those still on the ship treat us like approaching Somali pirates, like we're trying to get back. No, we're trying to get away. We're not approaching Somali pirates. We're rowing in the other direction, I assure you. But that ship, it doesn't like any dissenters. That ship doesn't want anybody leaving in the life rafts or the dinghies. And it will treat you like that old woman in They Live. One of them can see. Should we invite him to Thanksgiving? Yeah, invite him to Thanksgiving. But we'll mock him whenever we can. So without further ado, whatever that means, I give you the final list of categories as to how reality gives itself away. Oh, one quick note. Guys, add to our list in the comments. So the first one here is society never gets a win that benefits real people. Society, so you'd be like, I have one to add and never gets a win for real people. And then like that. Look to your comments. Hopefully we can add 50 things that I don't even mention here. Well, inside each category, there's probably thousands of examples. So the comments, let's try to stay on point here. Add to each category if you can. To our friend that commented as such a video or two back, we don't need to know about new loan products from Loan Shark investment markets. It just doesn't help us move forward. I think it must have been a joke telling us about new quickie loan products or cash advances. We don't need to know that in the comments. Thank you very much. First category, how reality gives itself away as not being very real. Society never gets a win that benefits real people. In anything that can be considered innovation or invention, only the system itself grows and gains from it. In terms of its structure, its power grows and personal freedoms shrink. For example, there have been no major medical cures for about 60 years, while technology that supposedly drives medical research has increased 100-fold. Technological innovation of any kind never makes a person's life easier in the places that matter. It only brings things like new VR headsets and Chat GPT the Chad and photorealistic faces spit out by a sick AI. In terms of the $5 million high-tech MRI machines in a hospital, for example, I guess you could say the diagnosis is impressive, but where's the damn cure? Somebody laying in a brand new General Electric or Honeywell MRI machine. That's what I say, $5,000, $5 million, or probably like $50 million. But it's impressive. Brand new machine. Somebody laying in it would be like, orderly technician, look at this thing. This thing will cure me, right? This is high tech. You thought that thing would cure you? That don't cure nothing. It tells me what you got. Oh, then you can cure me. No. Why'd you think that? We'll keep you coming back and spending money. Oh, I see. Thank you. Continue, please. How come none of these grants that find their way to university research labs ever benefit me? I don't ask for much. How about just like a material that can fill a pothole that won't break down in 6 weeks? I'm not asking for much. I'm not joking. I've said many times the same potholes have been out here on 202 and 422, the same ones for 25 years. Most of the times they don't try to fix any of them. When they do, then they just break down in a few weeks after. I told you I could fix it myself, but they won't give me the $50 a week that I asked for. There's never, the point of this section, there is never a feel-good announcement for the masses, ever. Think about that, Tony, if you're listening. Not that I expect this sort of thing from the SL Dark, but as an example, people, because tensions in the world are down this year, the defense budget is being cut by $100 billion, and these savings are being refunded to the people immediately. Because we know that this sort of thing can never happen, it gives reality away. A pendulum only swinging in one direction, year after year, decade after decade, that never swings back is proof of a fake world. Of course, the people around us have all the excuses. Well, Matt, they're corrupt, and they'll never give the money back. It'll be squandered. Oh, the corruption. The same scripts are run. The same excuses are given. But I'm saying it never happens. With the corruption, there might be one good government somewhere below a Biloxi somewhere that may do something for the people. I'm saying because it never happens. Its score is a demonic inverted perfection. That gives reality away. If a couple good governments operated inside of a sea of corruption, well, that would make sense. I'm saying it never happens. That's when it gives itself away. Dealing with your doctor or the state year after year never gets easier, always gets harder. More red tape, more things to fill out, more things get screwed up. The road and bridge projects get worse, more flagger force, more time. I mean, can anybody drive anywhere anymore without being stopped by some construction project? And I'm in my early 50s. This didn't happen in the 70s and 80s. Well, Matt, that's a legitimate fix. Well, why don't they make materials? It's 2023, but going into 2024. Why don't they make materials that last? It's all on purpose. Of course it is, without anybody being in on it. That's the evil genius of this reality. The price of real food and staples that you need never goes down, always goes up. While, of course, McDonald's and their zombie meat stays affordable. This list could go for hundreds of pages, of course. None of my friends or family notice how unnatural it all is. How unnatural that we never get a big win back in the direction of the people. Some idiots will actually argue to me that the iPhone is a big win in terms of me saying there's no good technological innovations or anything that benefits me. No, the iPhone benefits them. And whatever scraps are left, your Facebook, your Instagram, your bullshit social media, that benefits you. In terms of an iPhone, I'd rather use it as a paperweight than download a single app. iPhone, thou art a villain. For 10 years, they've pushed Hep C as a medical cure. There's no medical cures, Matt? How about Hep C? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, gee, a pill can cure Hep C. I apologize. There's been 25 medical cures between 1920 and 1940, but none in the new century. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, they give us Hep C. I'm sorry. I should take the entire channel down. They've known for 50 years why a shark doesn't get cancer. That concludes Category 1. We'll just call it No Wins, how reality gives itself away. Number 2, stalled century. There has been almost nothing new in the world for this entire century other than new phones and new apps and bullshit related to social media and probably pornographic smut devices that feel like real flesh. Other than that, there's nothing new. It's a stalled century. We have the same old celebrities with almost no younger generation to take their old decrepit place. In this 21st century, there hasn't been one original movie idea that led to a single great film. Not one! Instead, there have been endless Disney live-action remakes that have all destroyed the original classics, intentionally, but we'll talk about that some other time. There's not been a great album or band that moved music into a new place like the Beatles did in the 60s. Art degenerates year after year, and real art is replaced by what an AI can render in a diffusion model. Vanna White is pushing 45 years, turning letters like the Crypt Keeper. We have the same personalities and the same jobs on TV, decade, not year after year, decade after decade. Howie Long and Terry Bradshaw are approaching 40 years as Fox NFL analysts. What the hell? Nothing has happened in space since 1969, and what does that say about what happened then? Decade after decade, the same political leaders like Nancy Pelosi never leave. This sort of list could go on for hundreds of more pages. It's all very normal to our family and friends, how absolutely everything in this century is completely stalled out. There's likely several reasons the not milk needs to stall the century. The simplest explanation is that it surrounds you with familiar things, so you think very little is changing. You have your Linus blanket. Look, it's all the same. It's what you knew and loved. While the not milk is making massive changes, potentially to reality itself. Vanna White reminds the people, hey, look over here. I'm still here, so this is the same old Linus blanket reality you knew and loved. Don't you worry about a thing. You just play your ball, bounce your ball, go play your basketball. Thank you, Jordan, for that. Don't listen to loons like Matt saying they're fundamentally reconfiguring reality. What is this not milk thing? Don't listen to that loon. Other than reminding you that everything's still the same, it also seems to be like a desperate attempt to actually hold back the next age, whatever that means, astrological or other. Like they're literally trying to stall time and reality. We'll talk about it some other time, guys. We need to move through these categories a bit more quickly. The next category under the heading of reality gives itself away. Reality itself is a conspiracy generation machine that produces and spits out more conspiracy, more things to research than those chocolates coming down the assembly line at Lucy. The sheer amount of, quote, conspiracy in this world is impossible in anything that, say, came from a Big Bang, however you want to describe what Stephen Hawking would say as a real world. Almost everything of importance we look into and research, whether it be the presentation of history, where we came from as a species, what is space, etc. times a million. Everything we research or look into breaks down the official story, exposes the official story. Quickly, some sort of conspiracy arises every time. If that wasn't impossible enough, many of these conspiracies, the ones we all know, have 2, 3, or even 4 layers that match the expectations or the level of the person doing the research or attempting to find out what really happened. My favorite example of all time in this area, of course, to demonstrate the phenomenon is the story of the Titanic. To the regular guy or girl in the street, it just went down like Jack and Rose depicted it in the movie. Of course, what else could there be? To the third-grade truther who does a bit of investigation about the Titanic, they find out very quickly that the Titanic had a twin sister. Identical. Put your hand. This truly is a great example of identical. Had a twin sister that was put out to sea. That piece of shit Olympic was put out to sea 6 months prior. And then the older twin, you see, was damaged in an accident with a British Navy ship and essentially became a worthless piece of shit. So J.P. Morgan and the White Star Lines simply switched the names and sent the Olympic out posing as the Titanic. Did I just say posing as the Titanic? To be sunk in order to collect the insurance money, because J.P. Morgan wasn't rich enough, you see. Now, I know this can get confusing to those who have not looked at the Titanic story for 10 years, so here's it real quick, 10 seconds, we'll move on. The two ships were exact twins. They switched the names and the towels and the plates and shit and sent the piece of shit damaged one out to be sunk posing as the brand new, beautiful Titanic. Then it would have more insurance value because J.P. Morgan wasn't rich enough. The main point here under the reality gives itself away section is to point out, like, this isn't just some rumor, some fabrication of reality. If you look into this, there's tremendous evidence that supports this story. There are others associated with Titanic, but let's stick with this. Tremendous evidence if one goes looking for it. And the evidence, it's real. It's not just a story that the AI created on the internet. I just got an email not long ago from someone who said they had a relative who was in some way connected with a creepy Belfast shipyard or knew something about the old switcheroo. That doesn't mean that, oh, Matt, we have an insider that provided some information about a relative back then. That means that story about the Titanic is correct. No. I'm saying what reality does. All stories can be supported at the same time. All realities can exist at the same time. No real world could do that. Who has claim? All have claim. Who has claim? None have claim. No, we get evidence from somebody's grandfather that does, oh, Matt, now we know this one is true. And no, they all continue to be true. That's a fake world, my friends. All right, back to the story. Forget about the old insurance switcheroo for now. There are other layers of conspiracy. Everybody here knows them, so we'll be quickly. We have a whole separate layer associated with Titanic regarding the 3 billionaires on board, of course, who were opposed to the establishment of the Federal Reserve. Yeah, Matt, we've all heard it a million times. Just 10 seconds. Story says Jacob Astor, whatever his name, Benjamin Guggenheim, was it? Strauss? It wasn't Levi Strauss, the jean guy, whatever. His name was Strauss. They needed to be taken care of, quote, because the Fed needed to go forward and we couldn't have meddlers. So these 3 billionaires had to be, quote, taken care of. And the Titanic was sunken to take care of. So you can't have, but then you go research that, and that's the reality will support that. Well, how can it be both at the same time? That's what I'm saying. That's why this is the reality gives itself away section. It does support all at the same time. Then if you go off and look at that aspect with close research, oh, there's more evidence that supports that. Oh, J.P. Morgan was actually supposed to be on the maiden voyage. You know, he was one of the owners of the White Star Corrupt Lines. And then, he didn't get on. And when he had a little cough or something, or he had to play cricket or something, and you know what? There's all sorts of stories. Just like, what does it remind you of? Marky Mark didn't get on Flight 11, right? That creep that does the Orval, and that creep that does the Family Guy, whatever his name is, he didn't get on. Oh, he just overslept. The same repeating scripts and themes. A Vanderbilt, I don't think it was Cornelius Vanderbilt, one of the top billionaires in the Vanderbilt family, he didn't get on. All this evidence supports that they meant to take it out because they wanted the billionaires and those bastards that supported the feds, they wanted them to live. And the billionaires and the bastards that didn't want the Fed, they wanted them to go down with the Rose and Jack. So it's all, that evidence is not just on the internet. It's real. If you go into the rare books room of an old library in Belfast and peel back the cobwebs, it's all there. No world could do this. I couldn't resist. I had to go over here and look it up. Look at this. The Vanderbilt's close call with the Titanic tragedy. Scrolling down, 1 week before the tragic maiden voyage of the Titanic, George W. Oh no, the first George W. Vanderbilt III canceled plans for his family to sail on the passenger liner. You know what happened? They didn't have no internet. They got the word late. He was making his way across the plank, just like it was depicted, where Jack was trying to run with little whatever that guy's name, Maurizio, the most offensive Italian characterization of all time, Maurizio. Come on, Jack! They're all running. He's about to go on. Somebody runs up to George W. Vanderbilt III and shoves some piece of paper in his hand. And George W. III says to his wife, just a moment, as he steps away and uncrinkles the paper. The person that handed to him is now running away. He says, come back here! And the person's long gone. Says, don't you fucking dare board this ship. Signed, Uncle Cornelius. Then George said, Nellie, come over here for a second. Look at this. Does this look like Cornelius's signature to you? Do you think it's really from him? Nellie says, I think it does, George. We're not going on board. But why, George? We're not going on board. Porter, get our shit off that ship now. Well, you're not coming on board? Oh, we just came down with something, and we care for the passengers and don't want to spread it around. Neurovirus. Matt, what if you just broke reality? And there's a rare books room right now reconfiguring itself in Belfast, saying George W. didn't get on because he came down with neurovirus. It's possible in this sort of bizarro world. Guys, let's not get too deep into the weeds here. The point is, there are 3 or 4 levels of conspiracy in many of the things we look at. There's almost always at least 2 different takes, and each is supported independently by reality itself if one goes off one path versus the other to investigate that aspect of what is called the conspiracy. No real world could keep seeing to this. That's the point of this section. Let's move on to the next one. Number 4. No wake up in the people around us, ever. Our friends and family can't see anything we can see. Along the same lines, they'll never give us an inch in an argument by saying back to us something like, "Good point, Matt, but..." They'll never sit down with you and look at your evidence. Perhaps they, as something very different than you and I, may not be ready to, quote, wake up. And the rules of this reality may dictate that if they're not ready, then they're not able to see what we can see. By the same token, you could look at it in the opposite fashion. If you're ready to finally leave it all behind, then you see reality different. You see, what we've rarely considered is it could work both ways. Somebody ready to leave it may be seeing it actually falsely. The reality could produce a reality where we see it completely different, make ourselves into outcasts. The reality is, it's not like we're crazy. The reality is really giving this to us. But for those that aren't coming back, for example, however you want to put it, graduate, or that triggers some people, you graduate, however you want to put it, we see reality different. It doesn't matter which way it's working. We obviously see it different than your Aunt Ginny and my friend Tony. Because we see it different, and there's such a divide between us, guess what? You know what I'm going to say? This is the greatest news of all time. Of course, in the past, all we could do is take the superior position. Oh, we're the old souls. They're the young souls. They're not allowed to see it. They're not ready to see it. Their higher self won't allow them to see it. Always take the greater position. And ultimately, if we are ready, Matt, if we're ready to get out of here, we are probably in the greater position. Yes, of course. Folded aluminum, as you fold it up from your Reynolds wrap, can't go through 10,000-pound steel beams. There's certain objective truths that fall on our side when we look at almost anything. But again, it could work both ways. In a ridiculous example, and sometimes ridiculous examples are the best, the Chernobyl Aluminum Ducati Control Center, which is 3 Mile Island Twin Control Center. And you have the woman from They Live. We got one who can see. And oh, really? We got one who can see? Who's this? This guy, Matt. Okay. Break down reality for him. Flip the switch. Throw the lever. Not that there's at the Adjustment Bureau or real levers, but whoever designed this reality is probably pretty powerful being, I would say. Just me, You could say when the person is ready, then reality breaks. It's designed then to break down in front of that person. When actually the objective truth could be Tony's reality. Either way, it's the greatest news of all time. For us? For us. Yeah. Either way, we win. Stupid old sayings, when the student is ready, a master baiter will appear. No, how about this? When the soul is ready to get the hell out of these reality systems, not a master will appear, reality will break down, and it's designed to break down in front of their very eyes. It could just be that simple. That's like, what's that from? That's from the Hunt for Red October. You saying they're going to just pop the hatch and hand over $1 billion of Soviet proprietary submarine technology? It could just be that simple. That's when Alec Baldwin was actually a real human being. Matt, the end of number 4, moving into number 5, and you haven't said worry about yourself yet, and it's time right here. Because to see how ridiculous the reality is and how the games it plays and what it can put forth this is not the point of this chapter, but the overarching theme is even more important. I mean, it's playing so many games in all these different ways to go out and try to put your energy on it and attention on it out there instead of just doing what you have maybe just a few things left you have to do. Who knows? Are you an old soul? Do those things, to worry about it and fixing society or marching the Hillary Clintons off to jail. We now see how ridiculous those first grade truth or notions are. Next one, I think it's number 5. Endless synchronicities. is a fake world giveaway. Almost comical synchronicities and, quote, coincidences, some people call them that, are shown to real people daily. I could write a 1,000-page book on this one. One happened to me last night from when I wrote this. I called my mother to tell her about a bird that the day before killed itself trying to fly into my closed window. It hit, slammed, killed itself, and I told my mother what happened. She called me back an hour later and said a dove had just killed itself by flying into her closed window an hour later. Now, I get hit by birds every so often, but one kills itself every 5 to 7 or 8 years. I mean, a lot of birds hit maybe once a year, but then they flutter around, they get up, and they fly away. Within the hour, that's just one of a million things. But just happened to write that down when I wrote this section, just to the most recent synchronicity that came to me. Now, doing my proofing, I'm adding another one. Last night, Greg told me a story about a friend who tricked him and another guy to go into a bar of a certain lifestyle. You know what I'm talking about. The main point of the story was Greg said it was the time in the 90s when Madonna's Vogue was popular. Vogue, he said that on the dance floor in this bar that his friend kind of tricked him to go into, it was packed with men striking a pose, framing their face. You know what that Vogue stuff is. So when I wrote this morning, I wake up and the Google Doodle, after this big conversation with Greg, the Google Doodle is Willy Ninja, the blank man, not Smiley, but you know what we're talking about. The blank man who invented Vogue dancing. The next day, really? Okay, these aren't earth-shattering, Matt, but when they come constantly, it's reality saying, hello, Matt, it's a fake fucking place, wake up. That's basically what's happening. I appreciate the synchronicities, and I welcome them, but I don't need to see any more to believe in a fake world. I'm not going to re-record that, but what was that? Was that an oxymoron, or I don't know what it is, but that's funny, to believe in a fake world. I'm leaving it, Matt, that's profound. Finally realized why I come for this shit. Next major category how reality gives itself away as being fake. If they build it, our ilk will make endless videos saying it's impossible to build. There are structures all over the world that can't be explained in terms of what they were for or how they were built. Most people know about the Great Pyramid, of course, but they can only name a few other sites called megaliths or megalithic sites. There are over 200 others around the world. They may not be the Great Pyramid, but some are close in scale and scope. The same themes repeat over and over, site to site. It's like a repeating script. In a fake world, there's scripts in almost everything we look at. Remember, just a few back, talked about those stars that didn't get on Flight 11. Oh, they just missed it. And then the same thing happened back with Titanic, where they just didn't get on board. And here we have repeating megalith to megalith with the same themes, the same scripts associated with each megalithic site. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. As usual, whoever built it, or the original civilization, is gone without a trace all the time. In most cases, they left no information at all about the structure's purpose or about themselves. That makes sense. This leaves high-paid PhDs in university research parks yelling, "Tomb! It's gotta be a tomb!" That's all they do all the time to make their $500,000 a year. If you don't have a clue, just yell out, "Burial tomb," so you can keep your job. In terms of the defunct civilizations that built all these structures, because somebody had to have built it, just because there's no other explanation the human mind can comprehend, somebody had to build it, right? We'll talk about that later. So most of these ancient poor devils had to collect more than 1 million pounds of building materials from, in many cases, more than 50 miles away. That's usually a repeating part of the reality script associated with the megalithic sites. Never build something that can be mined locally. That's just out of the question. Grandpa, we're going to build another megalithic structure. Can't we build something where we can get the materials here? No, son. We got to travel 50 miles by boat, land, sea, and air, planes, trains, and automobiles to get our shit from far away. That's just the way these sites are done, son. Suck it up. Forget moving all the materials. Somehow these ancient poor devils had the expertise right in their own villages to build the structure. And they also had the second part, which is even more impossible. They had the skilled craftsmen and labor needed to do it locally. They were all right there, right? They didn't have no internet. You can't post jobs on Indeed, right? They're all right there. Isn't that fortunate? What a coincidence. All this skilled labor just happened to be in the local area. And again, if they weren't local, how did they send word hundreds of miles away that they needed these sort of craftsmen? Little signs pinned to the back of donkeys, like pin the tail on the donkey. Well-paying jobs are just a few weeks donkey ride away. Get on the back of this thing and this burro will lead you right to us. I don't know how they did it. They were quite inventive without the internet. Okay, guys, you've heard me talk about the Taj Mahal so many times. I'll be brief. It has to be part of the book. I know you've heard it. It's one of my favorite things to talk about of all time. Let's just get through this. I'll try to make it as interesting as possible. Those rolling their eyes. He's not going to talk about the Taj Mahal again. Okay. The following example is the most absurd to me. Initially, you know what I'm going to say? The Wikipedia page for the Taj Mahal said 25,000 artisans were used to build it. The number has now dropped amazingly to 20,000 artisans needed to build it on Wikipedia. The facts just dance around on Wikipedia weekly. How do you even find the 25,000 craftsmen in 16... I'm using the original number before Wikipedia changed itself. How do you find 25,000 craftsmen in 1620s rural India? Think about that. How you get them all together? Craigslist, job sites, Indeed. Was it they have Monster.com in India in 1620? Did they send men out walking in every direction with sandwich signs to attract workers? Maybe they were naked under the sandwich sign, and that would get special attention. How many master craftsmen could build giant domes to within 5 millimeters from side to side? They were just hanging out locally, maybe sleeping under camels. Did they have camels in that part of India? I don't know, but it's a better part of the story. They were sleeping under camels for warmth. Said, you know how to build giant domes within 5 millimeters? Yeah, then get out from under your camel. Come join us. I got a good, well-paying job for you. And 3 hots a day in a cot? 3 hots a day in a cot. Come on. How many could even read and write? Let's say maybe 5 of the expert builders were local. How many literally, that's not, there's no gigantic cities, is my understanding, around the Taj Mahal in 1620. So they had maybe 5 people that could kind of start. So they had to get 24,995 master craftsmen from other parts of India and around the world. And those 24,995 were a lot harder to find than the 5 that were local sleeping under camels. Sleeping under camels. So this is the point where I have to defend myself from the defenders of reality like your Aunt Ginny and my friend Tony, but also from people in our own community saying, Matt, didn't you see the 10 Commandments with Charlton Heston and he's the master builder working with Bacchus or whatever? You just need a few people that understand and everybody else just doesn't need to know anything. They just pull ropes and pull levers and carry bricks. First off, it's Wikipedia that says 25,000 artisans. Okay, that's the term they used, not me. It didn't say Bacchus and Yul Brynner and Charlton Heston, and then everybody else just pulls ropes and greases skids. It said 25,000 artisans, and it doesn't work that way, guys. You would need, at each local level, supervising a team of even 10 to 15 men, you would need an incredibly skilled craftsman. I don't care who you have standing overseeing the whole program. The guys up there building the domes that from side to side within 5 millimeter of you. You need to know what the heck you're doing. It's not like, oh, Matt, 5 people need to know what they're doing. Everybody else just carries bricks. No, have you ever even raked your front lawn? Do you even know anything about building, sir? Now, what I just did there, that argument, first of all, it's fun to have. We can do that from time to time, but I did what I did on purpose. See how where we were going there pulls us right back into the weeds? See what we were doing puts us right back into the bog with groups trying to yell at me, listening to this, or spitballers in the back saying, Matt, these structures could be built. And look, pulley systems can pull bricks. And pulley system, oh, great. That's where it wants us. That's the whole point. Remember, this whole section is reality gives itself away. So we're certainly not going to get back into the bog. That's just an example, just trying to tempt you back in there. And then another group saying, no, this could not be built. No, this could be built. That's the less feeling tastes great argument it wants. If you go back 100,000 feet and look down at the reality itself from afar, you notice the similar themes. It becomes a script. That means I don't need to believe some guy in a loincloth actually built it. I see the reality script. I'm big enough to put on the table that maybe nobody built it. And if somebody built it or they could build it, man, you don't know what you could do with a pulley. I don't care about that. I notice whether somebody in a loincloth built it or not. I notice the repeating reality script that gives reality away. That's all that's important. Next category, because we've talked about it at length in the last few months, this is incredibly short. The Goldilocks phenomenon. gives reality away. Too many things in reality play perfectly down the middle and present evidence on both sides. We, in our group, form an opinion, but your family and friends believe the news and take the other side always. Reality puts forth a scenario where we dig in on one side and your best friends dig in on the other, with seemingly equal weighted positions, especially from the point of view from who's taking those positions. No real world could play so perfectly down the middle, time after time, decade after decade, giving both sides the evidence it needs to declare the other side nuts. See, the VME was the biggest example of this phenomenon in history. See, the VME 2020 gave reality away by itself. It should be its own category here, but it's not. Next heading. A reality built on numbers is a fake reality. The synchronistic gematria of the world shows up, this gematria shows up too often to be random, and much too often for all of it to be planted, like the first grade truth or analysis of fake events. It's not one or the other, though, it's both. The numbers are often inserted as part of their creepy spell. An event happened in 2001, right? It was the event that was more important than the number, right? We assign the number more importance at this point. Something big happened in 2001 if you were in New York. A number didn't happen, it happened. It is them who then linked the event to the number for the creepy reasons. So of course I'm not saying the numbers always flow from reality itself, but that happens too. I agree, sometimes it's planted in a movie or inside of a cake and a lake event. But the power numbers, quote unquote, flow out of reality itself. And the creeps, in some way, know how to wield this gematria and whatever power it carries in the world to them. I don't think real people should give a shit about trying to use power numbers associated with this reality or anything that, quote, they try to do or they need to do. Let them have it. Who cares? Don't need no symbols. Don't need no numbers. Don't need any of that creepy horse shit. The creeps seem to get off on it, or they need it in some way. I agree, it often seems like the more cake in a lake the event is, the more these same numbers come forth to become part of the story, such as the 33, for example. What is, quote, planted and what flows from reality itself, who cares which one it is at this point? The most absurd comment that comes from authority relating to gematria comes from university research parks and their academica, where even those that are supposed to be authorities, you look at the number 13. 13 appears all over the back of the dollar bill. The eagle holds, 13 arrows, 13 olive leaves, right? 13 all over the place. And these academicas that make $500,000 a year, they say, well, it all stems from the 13 colonies. No, they chose to divide up the land into 13 colonies because they know the power of the number 13. It's the other ways around, you academica dummies. Let's move on to a different topic as to how the numbers give reality away. Remember, that's the theme of this whole thing. The heavens, the stars, the planets, whatever they are, they fit too perfectly within the mathematical system. We take this for granted, but it gives reality away as being an inorganic construct. Nothing random derived from a Big Bang operates perfectly inside of a base 10 system. And so much so, the behavior of these bodies can be predicted by lowly human beings 10,000 years in advance. They can? By us? Yeah. You could set your watch by when Halley's Comet will return. That's ridiculous. In a, quote, real world of the Big Bang and endless entropy, right? Endless second law. The Halley's Comet would go and be like, bye-bye, Halley's Comet. We'll see you in 70. And then 2 weeks later, here it comes again at 10,000 feet over New York City. It would be more like that. We can't have souls in that type of environment, so we have to put on a base 10 system like computer code. Scientists and astronomers can use their math to perfectly predict almost everything in the heavens, from the date of an eclipse 300 years from now to when a pulsar will stop pulsing. What does a pulsar do? It pulses. Like Gary's father in Weird Science. This is my father. He's a plumber. My dad, you plumb. Well, pulsar pulses. Gary's dad plums. I don't know what a pulsar is, but it pulses. If you think about it, it's too perfect how everything in the heavens lines up with the numbers of this reality that men then take advantage of. The same number system that they build their bridges with and they take advantage of to build their skyscrapers and the next Facebook campus in Silicon Valley. Same basic math system governs the heavens. That don't make no sense. We take all this for granted. It's just been part of our lives since we've been born. No one's really stopped to think about it. Why would supposedly the random acts of the cosmos, from a big bang, an explosion, have to fit not a little bit, but perfectly into essentially the same number system used by human beings to build out their society and culture? Now, understand the whole math system associated with the reality was here first. But it's a building block that can't in any way, if you think about it for 2 seconds, can't possibly be organic. It's too perfect. It's too structured. Guess what? An entire universe based on this similar, simple, relatively number system isn't very real. If they're calculus, in which I don't understand, I studied for months trying to figure out how to do basic business calculus. I understand none of it. I understand what x over y and y over x. I just want to get through the damn class. Somebody that understands math can understand what they're doing and transfer it into society. I could just get through the tests. I didn't have a damn clue. It was like a presentation in Mandarin to me. Anyway, anybody that knows their calculus, they can then predict all this astronomical stuff per the as above, so below. In this case, the so below, as above, so fake as shit down here. Then if it's as above, so below, right here, look around, it's fake as shit. If you Hermes Trismegistus, wouldn't you have to say, then that means fake as shit up there, as below, so above. Oh, look around, Hermes. Everything around us is fake as shit. That means that is fake as shit. That's blasphemy. Is it really? If as above, so below, then the astronomical stuff isn't very real then, is it? It's part of a construct. Of course it is. Why would burning stars, for example, or flying comets, or whatever else is going on up there, why would it all adhere to a math equation that can be written out on a blackboard by John Nash or by any human being? Anything you can put on a blackboard, all those heavens have to adhere to that structure and system. Come on, it's a joke when you really think about it. We take all this for granted, that it just must be. How many people have really thought about this? Why does the law of physics have to align with math perfectly? That sounds more like computer code than really the law of entropy or anything like that. Why do the laws of physics always have to fall back to the math? How does an explosion 1 trillion times larger or hundreds of trillions of times larger than anything we can possibly comprehend on Earth produce a universe that fits in to the mathematical model of, say, a calculator? It's not the other way around, and that's the problem. The calculator or number system was not made or created to fit the heavens. Oh, we finally got this system to match up with the heavens, so then we can use it and make predictions. That would be impossible. The structure exists first and foremost, and everything adheres to the structure. We just think it's just nobody's ever thought about it. This is natural. But it's so unnatural when you think about it. Everything from a little tiny $2 piece of shit Tijuana TJ calculator somebody's selling on the street with pencils adheres to the same basic structure as Halley's Comet when it's flying by the Voyager. Come on, man. This is a joke. And at some point when I start talking about things like this, I have to provide my own defense against my accusers, and I'll do it here, and I'll play the accuser's part as objectively as I can, but they'll say, oh, Matt, okay, part of this whole segment, the world isn't very real, reality gives itself away, fake, whatever. That's what Neil of the Grass-Fed says. You're being just like Neil of the Grass-Fed. You're being like Elon Musk, Matt. He says the chance we're in base reality is only 1 in billions, meaning there's a 999 million whatever chance that we're inside of a simulation, inside of a simulation, inside of a simulation. So, Matt, you're saying the same thing as the people you label as creeps. No, not at all. Let me take a few minutes to explain the difference to anybody that gets a little confused here. I've done this several times. These creeps, like Elon Musk, I still have his poster over my bed, they will always put it in terms of a technological simulation, like the movie The Matrix, or VR headset, or immersive environment, always related to the technology, that demonic side, as some would say. I'm saying this whole reality system, the natural world, everything around us, it's created here for the spiritual being to have whatever experience you believe we're having here, where we have slight disagreement. It's fake. It's very fake, but it's natural. It was designed at the base level to be this. Of course it's fake. That doesn't mean it's a computer simulation or the Matrix. whenever I say it's fake, I'm not then turning to technology, to computer cores and chips and simulations. That's what these creeps do. That's where they want to take the next evolution of human being, not 10.0, but 666.0. Upload the Netflix series, download transcendence. That's where they want to take it. I'm not saying the same thing as these creeps at all. It's not real, but it's supposed to be this way. And it was designed by something incredibly powerful that could never be fully hijacked by these creeps and these Melvins. Someday, if they can get you to believe, or the populace, not you, but get the populace and the population, the great unwashed, and the proletariat to believe that it is what Mitch Pikachu says, it is computer code, and that's bull crap. Remember that forum, that seminar that Neil deGrasse Fed led 8 years ago? It was all staged and rigged, and one of the astrophysicists says, "Oh, we found at the smallest depths of reality, hiding around string theories, we found computer code." Oh, really? Well, where'd that go? He just threw it out there, and all the truthers watched it and made videos about it. But, well, if that was true, it would have popped up 4,000 times over the years. It just kind of went away. But they want everybody to believe that. So if they can get the populace to believe that this reality is one fake and it is like a simulation or a computer, then what's the harm in going into another simulation or computer? See what I mean? It's like, if they can convince the guy on the street that this is the Matrix, at some point they're not quite ready to do it. They've dipped their toe in the water a few times. They're not quite ready to do it. And they're saying there is computer code at the fundamental level of reality, and this is all fake, and it's no different between a computer simulation. So the guy on the street says, well, why would I want to be in this fake environment where I owe back taxes and my boss is about to fire me and my wife just left me and I've whacked myself off so many times, the entire one part of it is completely callous. Why do I want to be in this environment when I can do upload like Netflix and I can be like Cypher in the Matrix? I want to be rich. I want to have a harem. The man on the street will then trade, in their own estimation, one fake environment for the next, where the other one, they will have the Maserati and they will be the basketball star, whatever. But that's absolutely, you want to talk about going deep under the dragon's wing, potentially where there are consequences. No consequences, people. This reality is pretty fake, but this level is not a completely hijacked level. It's being hijacked by creeps, but they can't fully rewrite what it's supposed to be for spiritual beings. I don't think this is the chances of being base reality or 1 in billions. Elon, what a villain. No, it was designed this way by your God or by something extremely powerful for us to have this experience. No, we're not in 900 copies of a simulacra. Elon Musk, you villain. Give me a break. They want you to believe that. So again, the man on the street says, what am I doing? Getting the alarm clock, 5:45, meep, meep. Beep, gotta go. He goes to the bathroom and goes, it's all burning. Says, I'm gonna trade this fake reality, because if you convince me it's fake, for another fake reality where I'll be like Cypher and I'll be rich. Then no consequences, people. You go full transcendence and there's no consequence. Ooh, I bet there's a little bit of something, man, even though I've come around to your side. I gotta summarize that for 1 minute or less because it was all over the place. When these scientists talk about this reality being a simulation, it's always confined to what people can understand: VR headsets, computers, technology. It is a simulation to me, but it's a natural simulation designed by something very, very powerful for the experience we're having. They want the man on the street to believe, or eventually when they're ready to roll this out, that this is a simulation like the Matrix. Of course, there'll be no mention of the spiritual side or that arm of the Vitruvian Man. Of course, never mention that. So they will want people to trade what they will be convinced is one fake reality for another, where they'll be rich, healthy, and famous. And then no consequences, people. Why are they working so hard to do this? Maybe they do got you at that point. I mean, I think they're behind schedule in this regard. Ray Kurzweil, he made his rounds 8 years ago, 8 years ago, with all his lectures about we're going to do the brain chip or transcendence and all this stuff about brain. And it all kind of went away for some reason. And again, he didn't even know what he was talking about, Ray Kurzweil, when he was making the presentations. I was noticing, listening to all of them, he's repeating the same things, the same lines in the same way. So this guy is supposed to be the top futurist at Google, talking about a brain chip or some sort of a transcendence. It was more about the brain chip than it was about downloading consciousness. It's all kind of similar themes. I'm watching these lectures where he's saying the same things. I'm saying he doesn't even have any idea. He's supposed to be the top guy on this. He doesn't have any idea. And then when I put this out 5, 6, 7 years ago, his goal was to plant it in the minds of real spiritual beings that this is coming. So potentially the people in the audience could be the spark or the seed to help manifest it. Something got along the way. They're not quite where they want to be in this regard, which is good. Again, the world around us, the outer ring of the screen, is very fake. The environment itself, reality, is very fluid. It's not real in an organic sense. That's okay. It's not a simulacra of a simulacra of a simulacra like that villain says. It's designed to be this way for us to have the experience. But if you put your consciousness or a part of yourself in a damn computer simulation someday, trying to trade one fake reality for the next in terms of what the average man on the street believes, then potentially they got you. That, to me, the pure, true definition of what they consider the 666 is Johnny Sendent's transcendence. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard transcendence. Next category that exposes a fake reality: the rule of opposites and inversions. The amount of time the rule of opposites comes through reality means it's not random. There are 100 pages or more of examples. Obama was given the Nobel Peace Prize and went on to become the biggest war president in history. See, the rule of opposites. The supposed freest country in the world has the most laws and the most people in jail. Rule of opposites. In each generation that follows the other, young people get dumber and dumber, while billions more are spent on education locally and at the state level. Spending is then the opposite of dumber. Endless technological innovation on trivial things like phones moves inverse to innovation on important things, like, say, medical cures and a lot of other areas. The number of billionaires rises into the thousands or tens of thousands now, while those below the poverty line grows proportionally in the other direction, opposites. Sports athletes are now despicable bums, but their salaries climb 1,000 times higher than the people who played baseball for $10 a game, say, in 1940, opposites. As technology advances in social media, people become more distant to their family and friends. Social media is letting people grow apart. Opposites. There's nothing social about 5 teenagers at the Thanksgiving table looking down at their phones, drooling like zombies. The rule of opposites exposes a fake world because it's a rule. It's almost never broken, or it's never broken from a not-nilk perspective in matters of importance. If you go to a baseball game and you expect a lot of foul balls, and where do the foul balls go? They go all over the place. They go pop up behind the catcher. They go right field, line, left field. They go, foul balls go all over the place. Hard liners, pop. Okay, what if you went to a baseball game and every single foul ball from every single pitcher and batter went right over the first baseman's head to the second row of the fans behind the first baseman? Would that be a real baseball game? That's what this reality does in terms of its rules, the way it plays the same scripts over and over again. In this case, the rule of opposites. The examples associated with this, quote, law of this place sometimes are very specific, as, say, hundreds of millions of people were hurt in 2020 by the VME lockdowns. We'll call that the yin. See, the rule of opposites, then here comes the yang, in this case, the wang. The top 10 billionaires increased their wealth by $250 billion, while everybody was at home not spending any money. Sometimes a single thing like this, if it's big enough, gives the entire reality away. That's what happened in 2020. Looking at it from the other direction or the other side, I think to us gives it away even more. So do you think in this reality it would be possible that we could go into something like a 2020, people staying at home and all this stuff, nobody going to a concert, nobody going to a football game, etc., where at the same time, maybe even if it's only a presentation, but at the same time, it appeared that all the billionaires were being very hurt. You heard and the reality kept backing this up. Oh, Bill Gates' worth down to $45 billion, and Bezos, okay, he, let's say, go up because everybody's ordering from home. He's the only guy. Everybody else got hurt. Elon Musk lost $100 billion on his net worth. Everybody else got hurt. And then the evidence came to stack up that these billionaires were really hurt. Now, if your wealth's down to $40 billion, are you really hurt? But see, we just know that can never happen. We know that would never happen, that they would in some way feel the pain along with everybody else. Anybody that's been looking at reality as long as we have, we know that can never happen. Therefore, right there by itself, reality is exposed. You don't need anything else. Okay, and we got a lot of more, as Mr. T would say. I got a lot of more, not milk, if you're listening. I have this whole list of categories here, and we're only about halfway through. It's going to extend into another video, but you don't even need this to prove fake reality. See the VMe of 2020 by itself. You do a whole video channel, whole series of books. By itself, it broke reality down. All right, just think, okay, let's just do a 5-minute stray here. Just think of when you have the money flow, the money multiplier just completely, for the most part, stop. For I don't know how many months it was. How long was there not an NBA game? How long was no NHL? How long was no Major League Soccer? Concerts, going out to bars, restaurants. Do you realize that the exponential money multiplier on that? Do you see there should have been incredible carnage? And some people, there was, Matt. I know my brother-in-law was laid off. No, you don't understand. Because when you would completely stop the money multiplier, the carnage, it should have looked like the Great Depression on steroids times 100. Whether they, quote, they cake in a lake and had everything event 2, whatever planned out or not. It's people either way. People were at home, right? Either way, that is the reality of it. No matter, whatever aspect you think is complete cake in a lake or whatever aspect you think could be a tiny bit real, people were still at home. Nobody went to a football game. Nobody went to a bar or restaurant. So that reality, from our perspective, we have no other words to say, is real. So the carnage that would have caused, where every just-in-time system is relying on the next, and banks, LIBOR relying on this and that, it should have been 1929 times 100, just from that. Somehow, I don't know how that was avoided. The waiters, we hear what? How many times have we heard people only have 2 weeks of savings? Well, they're even talking about that now again. People only have 2 weeks of savings. Well, 2020 proved that's not accurate. If all these people had 2 weeks of savings, you'd have cities of homeless people now from 2020. But I'm saying it is somewhat accurate. I'm saying that the 2020 in many ways is a reality breakdown to me, where things can't possibly be explained. But what else is new? There was no carnage for the most part from 2020. Let me just say what I wanted to say. It's a complete reality breakdown. It can't be explained away. Well, Matt, you yourself say the Fed injects, the AI injects money wherever it's needed. And I hear you, but you still have millions of employees that need to go to work to make their money, that work in the ballparks, that work in the waiters, that 99% comes from tips and they make the $2 an hour, bartenders or mechanics, or it doesn't matter. Where was all that carnage? Everybody doesn't just have a support system where they could go to dad and say, Dad, can you lend me some money, or mom, or a rich aunt? Everybody has a support system. No, it doesn't make sense. If there was any doubt as to what we thought this reality was or was not, 2020 gave it away. I mean, these exercises we're doing now, unnecessary. We don't need to see anymore. To close this segment, though, on opposites, another reality giveaway. To your friends and family, it somehow just makes sense that Melvin and Bezos and Zuckerberg and all the others, they collectively put $250 billion in their bank account. They got collectively $250 billion richer, like 10 to 15 people, when nobody could, in essence, leave their house or spend any money. To you, Tony, and friends and family, it just makes perfect sense. Yeah, Matt, see, they were positioned. It makes sense for Jeff Bezos ordering on Amazon. Doesn't make sense for anybody else. I'll give you Jeff Bezos. That's it. To the people of the world, it just makes sense that another aspect of fake reality, sports contracts, didn't, during the 2020, and nobody spent $1, and nobody went in, and nobody spent on concessions, and nobody bought a ticket, sports contracts didn't take 1 minute off in their meteoric rise to the absurd. With some in football and baseball now with contracts around $500 million for, say, long-term contracts. Not they make $500 million with their Nike and Gatorade, Mike, I want to be like Mike. No, just the damn contract for playing the sport per the long-term contract for many, not many, but you have, and will it grow or will it shrink? Do you think here we go. Pendulum always goes in one direction. Will it be like, we have to stop this and salaries will go back to Mahomes making 40 million or 80 million? No, the pendulum never swings back. That's one of the other ways reality gives it away. It'll be 500 million. Then it'll be $700 million contracts. There will be, I predict, within 5 years, the first $1 billion contract for a sports athlete. Pendulum only goes in one direction in a fake world. I've mentioned my friend Ken before in regards to what we're talking about now. If you look at a graph of ridiculous salaries, there's no blip. I mean, so you have, for some sports teams, most or all the season completely went away. Not a penny spent on a ticket or any multiple where you buy coats or jackets or T-shirts or hats and all this multiple, and not even a blip in terms of salaries. Well, Matt, it was only 1 year and they're committed to the... Well, in any real world, the sports teams and the leagues would have said, we just took a gigantic hit. And unless there's some concessions made, we're in trouble. I mean, in a real world, that's what would have happened. Well, Matt, they're paid by the government and it's reimbursed. No, I didn't know that. I had no idea that Not Milk injects money. It's news to me. I'll shut the entire channel down. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's not a real world then either, then, is it? But, Ken and people, they won't say, oh, it was all supported by this thing called Not Milk, whatever, so they don't miss a beat. And him, it's always a pedestrian way to explain it away. It's, Matt, the TV contract's already committed, so the leagues didn't lose any money. And sneaker contracts. And it's always reality is supported by the Palace Guard in a pedestrian way that makes sense. Makes sense to them. I mean, it doesn't ever make sense to us. And as the years go by, the ways to explain all this away or justify it, or to get up in the morning and think nothing's wrong, their rationales, if that's even a word, get more and more ridiculous. The Palace Guard and what they put forth gets more and more ridiculous in the defense of the fake reality. Well, this is what happens when you're in lifeboats rowing away from the ship of fools. We predicted this would happen. As lifeboats move in a different direction, we're in the lifeboats and the dinghies, and the ship moves in its direction, it's going to become stranger. Their defense of it, because we're still not in the lifeboat next to these people, we're next to them at work or in the cubicle or in a social sense or at a party. Their defense of it will get crazier and crazier because the metaphysical ship of fools is now 5 miles down the river. And we'll just say it'll move a mile down the river of insanity every year that goes by. So, of course, it's only going to get worse from our perspective. Overall, don't be upset. This is, without a doubt, to us, the greatest news of all time. Fake reality, which we're not even halfway done here. Fake reality proves that you are the other side of the Vitruvian Man here in this little funhouse temporarily, and you're like a little bit bigger than this place, maybe like trillions of times bigger than this place. As it gets absurd, it's the best news of all time. Thanks for listening.